प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, welcome you all to today's discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam as part of the Bhakti Vaibhav session. So we saw in the earlier part of this particular chapter, Shukadev Goswami covering various paths for self-realization. And even before covering those paths, Shukadev Goswami specifically rejects the Karma Kanda provisions, the materialist who try to exploit the instructions given in the Vedas for their own sense gratification. And Shukadev Goswami explains that while the life of self-preservation is very much allowed, but one should not pamper oneself more than the basic necessities needed to keep the body and the soul together. And specifically, he goes on to describe in detail the path of Ashtanga Yoga practice that is taken up by the Gyanis and by the Ashtanga Yogis. So don't get confused by these words that we are using. As we go into the details of each category, it will be clear. If it is still not clear, feel free to ask. So specifically in this particular chapter, 4 items are covered by Shukadev Goswami. One is the process of meditation that is followed by the Virata Rupa meditator, the process of meditation that is followed by the Paramatma meditator. In the last chapter, we saw in detail the description of the universal form of the Lord, Virata Rupa. And in this particular chapter, in the second section, text 8 to 12, there is a detailed description of the Paramatma form of the Lord. So after these two descriptions of Virata Rupa and Paramatma form of the Lord are covered, then Shukadev Goswami goes into describe the process that is followed by these two types of yogis. Anybody recollects, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, on a high level, what is the differentiation between these two yogis who meditate either on Virata Rupa or on the Paramatma form of the Lord? What is the major differentiating factor for these two types of yogis? Anyone? Venkata Narsimha Prabhu.
Who is in material association, he has to meditate on Virat Rupa, and who is liberated from this material association, he will meditate on Paramatma.
Right. Yes, it's close to the right answer. Slight modification I will make, that those yogis who still have got desire for material enjoyment, they are advised to meditate as per Srimad Bhagavatam, as per Shukadev Goswami. They are advised to meditate on the Virata Rupa, universal form of the Lord, while those yogis who have given up, who have risen above this tendency to enjoy material enjoyment, they are advised to meditate on the Paramatma form of the Lord. And finally, Shukadev Goswami explains the exact process that is followed by these two types of yogis for achieving liberation. Ultimately, the end goal for both these yogis, either Paramatma meditator or Virata Rupa meditator, is liberation. But we will see as we proceed with the discussion today how there is still a category beyond liberation that a yogi can target for, can achieve. So let's go, and don't be too much bogged down by the technicalities. As much as possible, I have tried to include as part of today's discussion quite a few examples so that the principle becomes clear with the help of those examples. And despite that, if any of the point is not clear, feel free to ask. Okay, so let's proceed. Yes. So I had mentioned text 12 slightly incorrectly, because text 12 is where the Paramatma description is concluded by Shukadev Goswami. So we will start with text 13th. So what is the process of meditation for a first type of yogi, the Paramatma meditator? How exactly that meditation is done? And quite a few relevant topics for our own Krishna consciousness that Shukadev Goswami covers. So let us go through the verse first. Anyone would like to recite the verse, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, and then we all follow, rest of us. All right. So I will sing. एकैकशो अङ्गानि
एकैकशोऽङ्गानि
धियानुभावयेत्
धिया
धियानुभावयेत् पादादियावत् दशितं गदाभृतः यावत् दशितं गदाभृतः जितं जितं स्थानम् अपोय धारयेत्
जितं स्थानम् अधारयेत्
परं परं शुद्धयति धीर यथा यथा
परं शुद्धयति धीर् यथा यथा
So in this particular verse, how a yogi, specifically the Paramatma meditator yogi, how he meditates on the Paramatma form of the Lord is mentioned. Ekai kasho angani dhyanu bhavaet. He proceeds from ekaika. Ekaika means one by one through the different limbs of the body of the Lord, starting from the lotus feet of the Lord. So this point we had covered earlier. When we take the darshan of the deities in the temple, we are advised to proceed from the toenails to the lotus feet, to the ankles, then calves, thighs, waist, and then torso, and then chest, and then arms and lotus face of the Lord. So one by one, a devotee is advised, specifically this description is there in multiple places, but also in Lord Kapila's teaching. So a devotee is advised to meditate on the different body limbs of the Lord one by one. And what happens when we meditate on the various limbs of the Lord? The end effect is mentioned in the last line of this particular verse. Param param shuddhayati dhira yatha yatha. That dhira means intelligence, buddhi. So the intelligence of such a yogi, it becomes shuddhayati, it becomes cleansed, it becomes purified when he meditates on different bodily limbs of the Paramatma form of the Lord, one by one, starting with the Lord's lotus feet. So then, one question can come to our mind. Let me just check the notes I had put here. Yeah, result of such meditation on different bodily limbs of the Lord, one's intelligence becomes purified of desire for material enjoyment. So, one question that may come to our mind is that we just mentioned few minutes back that Paramatma meditator is already purified of the desire for material enjoyment, and that's why they are taking their advice to meditate on the Paramatma form of the Lord. Whereas this particular verse says that by such meditation on the Paramatma form of the Lord, on the bodily limbs of the Lord, one by one, then Param Param Shuddhayati Dhira Yatha Yatha, the intelligence will become gradually purified. How do we reconcile the two? How do we understand that a Paramatma meditator is already cleansed at heart? At the same time, by doing this Paramatma meditation, he becomes further, his intelligence becomes further purified. Anyone would like to share any thoughts? Prabhuji's, Mataji's? How do we reconcile? Everybody got the question that I asked? For anyone, question is not clear? Is the question clear? Prabhuji's, Mataji's, Hare Krishna.
Can you repeat it, please, Prabhuji?
Okay. So the question is, on one hand, we are saying that Paramatma meditator are those yogis who have risen above, who have given up the desire for material enjoyment. They are advised to meditate on the Paramatma form of the Lord, right? So here we are saying they are already cleansed in their intelligence. That's why they are advised. If they are carrying the material enjoyment tendency, then they are advised to meditate on the Virata Rupa. On the other hand, we are saying that such Paramatma meditator, when he meditates on different bodily limbs of the Lord one by one, then his intelligence gets purified. So, how do we reconcile these two? You can try. Don't worry, even if it is right or wrong.
Prabhuji, both of them go hand in hand, isn't it? It's
Okay,
not.
okay. How can you
It is
explain?
not. See, you reach the Paramatma form, yeah, but you still need to continue your Paramatma form. How do you continue your Paramatma form?
Meditation. How do we continue the meditation?
Yes,
Okay.
meditation. So, uh, even though you do not have the, what you say is the any kind of a material enjoyment tendencies, still the Lord's the Lord's image gives you that intelligence to make sure that you are away from that. So I look at that both of them are complementary, not
Complete.
against one another. That is
Very
my
nice.
feeling.
Very nice, Murli Prabhuji. So it is quite close to the answer that in the Vedic scriptures, when we say that a certain stage is achieved, it is not in an absolute sense. For example, in the slides, I have given one example. Let me just go through the slides. Yeah. So say for example, we know the 9 stages of devotional service. Adho, Shraddha, Tatha Sadhu, Sangha, Tatha Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivrutti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhav, and Prem. Right? So we see in these particular 9 stages of devotional service, if we go in sequence, Anartha Nivrutti comes fourth. Everyone still with me, Prabhuji's, Mataji's?
Yeah.
Anartha Nivrutti comes fourth. So does it mean that when one has reached that level of Anartha Nivrutti, there are no more anarthas in one's heart? Does it mean? So the answer is it is a relative statement. If one has reached Anartha Nivrutti, that doesn't mean that one does not have any more anarthas in one's heart. What it means is one has done the cleanup, one has removed the anarthas within his heart to the level required to proceed to the next level, which is nishtha. That means the anarthas are sufficiently cleansed to reach to the fifth level in the 9 stages of devotional service, which is nishtha. And if you ask, when are the complete anarthas taken out from within one's heart? Then only at the stage of the highest devotional service, which is prema bhakti. Only at that level, at the level of prema bhakti, all the anarthas, cent percent, are removed from within our heart. And till that time, while we are proceeding from anartha nivrutti to the fifth stage, nishtha, that means the anarthas are removed to an extent where one is able to progress to the next stage. So similarly, when we say that a Paramatma meditator has his heart cleansed by meditation on the different bodily limbs of the Lord, it means that while he has already cleansed his heart, there are still some vestiges of enjoying mentality, some vestiges of tendency to enjoy this material world. We will see few examples. So those vestiges of trying to wanting to enjoy this material world are only able to be removed when the person continues his or her meditation, the way Murli Prabhu said. So is this point clear, Prabhuji's Mataji's? While the heart is cleansed of a Paramatma meditator, it is only cleansed to a point that he or she can meditate on the Paramatma form of the Lord. But with that process, further cleansing of the heart takes place. Like similar to the Anartha Nivrutti example that we saw, the 8 stages of the yoga practice, Ashtanga Yoga, we know Yama, Niyama, which means the do's and the don'ts, Asana, which means the sitting posture, Pranayam, which means the breathing exercises, Pratyahar, which means withdrawing the senses from the sense object, and then Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. Dharana is meditation, Dharana is concentration, Dhyana is meditation, and Samadhi is the topmost level of absorption in the Lord. So, all these 8 stages of the Ashtanga Yoga practice, the pratyahar, that is withdrawal of the senses, it only brings the yogi to the level that he or she is able to meditate on the form of the Lord, in this case Paramatma form. But once that focus, concentration, meditation on the Paramatma form of the Lord further progresses, then the person is able to graduate to the next levels, including dhyana, samadhi, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. So all these 3 stages for a yogi, they proceed to come one by one. So is this particular point clear, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? I don't mind explaining again, but feel free to ask if it is not clear. Hare Krishna.
Can I add one more point,
Yes,
Prabhuji?
yes,
Very,
yes, Murli Prabhu.
yeah.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, we are living in this material world
Mhm.
and then governed by the material senses, right?
Yes.
So even though we are reached such a level which is concentrating on the higher level, still our material senses bind us to this material world, and then there is always a fall possible. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that is also one of the reasons why it is important to do the way it is being prescribed, to go through every limb.
Correct. So basically, the possibility of senses dragging someone down is always there till the very end. We see in the case of various examples, including, say, for example, Bharat Maharaj, who was at the second highest level of devotional service. He was at the Bhava stage, but even his mind got attached to something other than Krishna, the deer, and he also fell down temporarily for some time in his devotional service. So, what you are telling is true, that till the time we reach the highest level of devotional practice, which is the Prema Bhakti, there is always a chance of senses dragging us down. And there are so many examples. So point is, while the cleansing of the heart is a gradual process, we have to understand it in a relative manner. Cleansing of the heart is done for a yogi. That means he is ready to proceed to the next level. And that doesn't mean that cleansing of the heart has been done in a absolute manner. There can still be some vestiges, like we saw in the case of Bharat Maharaj. Is that all right, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Yeah. Gita Mataji, Tarini, Krishna Kanta Mataji, Venkata Narsimha Prabhu, and
Yes,
other devotees. Is this clear?
yes,
Uh,
Prabhuji.
I have one query.
Yes, yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I have one query.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, isn't that since we are discussing about the Paramatma form and meditating on the limbs of the Paramatma form, so
Mm-hmm.
similarly, same bodily, like it's not a bodily structure, but like the structure, the limbs are the same in Paramatma, Bhagwan, and Virat Swarup. So
Oh,
isn't everyone is doing the same thing and it's just a difference of name, Prabhuji? Means although I understand that as you said, mentioned earlier that. Materialistic peoples are advised to meditate on Virat
right,
Swarupa.
right. So
Yogis are
when
advised. or Paramatma. But although everything is the same, na Prabhuji, Paramatma limbs also is going one by one gradually. Above.
Yeah, so very nice question. So one, there are two specific factors differentiating these three transcendentalists. One is the Virat Rupa meditator versus the Paramatma meditator versus a Bhakta who is serving the personal form, Shamasundar form of the Lord. First, Virat Rupa meditator. Virat Rupa is not the transcendental form. Time and again, Srimad Bhagavatam as well as Bhagavad Gita both confirm that it is a material form of the Lord specifically meant for those who are not able to appreciate the Satchit Ananda nature of the transcendental body of the Lord. So, for such people who, for them, it is necessary to perceive the Lord at the level of their material senses. Virat Rupa is given. So it is not the transcendental form, it is a material form. This is one difference. Second, now what is the difference between a Paramatma meditator and a Bhakta serving the Lord personally? Paramatma meditation is just at the level of meditation, one by one on the bodily limbs. While a Bhakta also meditates on the transcendental limbs of the Lord, Bhakta doesn't stop at that. Bhakta, a devotee, also renders personal service to the Lord in terms of serving the different senses of the transcendental body of the Lord. So he doesn't just stop at meditation. The Bhakta is involved, is actively engaged in serving the various senses of the Lord. So that is the difference between Bhakta versus Paramatma meditator and Paramatma meditator versus Virata Rupa meditator. Is that all right, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji, quite clear. That means the Bhakt establishes his relationship with the Lord beyond meditation.
Beyond meditation. Very nice understanding. Yes. So a bhakta is concerned to give pleasure to the Lord. He just doesn't want to get purified himself or herself. He wants to give pleasure to the Lord, and in order to do that, he engages in active service, which the Paramatma meditator does not do. Okay, Prabhuji?
That includes all the sevas which
All the sevas, all the sevas.
devotees are doing in the temple, crowd serving,
Everything,
cooking.
everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhuji. I have a question, Prabhuji.
Hare
Now,
Krishna, yes. Prema
Seva,
Prabhuji.
Seva that Bhakta does, along with that, simultaneously, can he be meditating?
Yes, yes, definitely. So it is not exclusive. Like there are multiple aspects for these other processes of transcendental realization, which are also exercised by the devotees. Say, for example, even when we consider the Ashtanga Yoga practice, even we have a set of do's and don'ts. So we also have a certain set of yama and niyama. Asana, maybe not to that level that a yogi needs to practice that stringently, but Prabhupada advised us as well, sit properly while chanting. We don't lie down on the bed and chant. We sit in a clean, nice place, clean our body so that we don't fall asleep and all. So many of these other aspects of other transcendental processes we also exercise as part of devotional service. So bhaktas also do the meditation on the bodily limbs. That is true, Mataji.
Exceptional cases can be there, no, Prabhuji, when person is not well,
Right.
then obviously he has to lie down and chant.
Yeah, exceptional cases. Yeah, exceptions prove the rule. So that is the saying in English. So that means whatever these do's and don'ts are mentioned, there in general guidelines, there can be some exceptions.
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Usha Mataji, you have any
Yes.
question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So
Yeah.
all these three categories of devotees come under the transcendentalists. They're all called transcendentalists.
Yes, except for the karmis, because they are not considered transcendentalist. They want to enjoy their own senses. The Jnana Yoga practitioners, Ashtanga Yoga practitioners, and Bhakti Yoga practitioners. All these three categories are considered as transcendentalist.
So even the impersonalists and voidists are
Yes,
also called
yes,
transcendentalists.
yes, Mataji. Right.
Oh,
But
thank you.
those, Prabhuji, but those who meditate on the Virata Rupa is material, no?
Correct. It is material, but the result is substantial. Because why it is substantial? Because it is an authorized process given in Srimad Bhagavatam. It may be a material form, but Bhagavatam clearly delineates, it clearly demarcates the substantial benefits what such a Virata Rupa meditator can achieve through this meditation. He can reach up to the stage of liberation.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, and
Yeah.
as we will see in the next set of slides, even at the stage of liberation, it is not the end. The yogi still has options open if he wants to achieve parabhakti beyond liberation. We will see that in the coming slides.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so
Correct.
yes, it may be a material form, but the benefits derived are substantial because it is authorized method. It is not concocted. All right. Can we proceed, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Any other question? A part of this might seem a bit technical, but my request to all of you is consider it as a service to Krishna to try to employ our intelligence best possible means to try to understand. And if after that we are still not able to retain 100%, that is fine. Offer it as for pleasure of Lord Krishna. Okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Any other question, queries anyone has? So basically this verse explains how a Paramatma meditator, while his heart is already cleansed, that heart becomes further cleansed when he meditates on the different bodily limbs of the Lord. This is the simple point for text 13. Is that all right, Prabhuji's, Mataji's?
Yes,
All
Prabhuji.
right.
Yes.
So let's quickly go through the translation. Let me see how big is the purport. Purport is big. So yeah, anybody wants to read the translation? Prabhuji's, Mataji's, Hare Krishna. Tarini Krishna Kanta Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: the purpose of meditation should begin from the lotus feet of the Lord and progress to His smiling face. The meditation should be concentrated upon the lotus feet, then the calves, then the thighs, and in this way higher and higher. The more the mind becomes fixed upon the different parts of the limbs one after another, the more the intelligence becomes purified.
Yes. So this is the description for the Paramatma meditator. Now, in the interest of time, Mataji, you can read only the highlighted part of the purport.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. There are authorized descriptions of Vishnu forms and there are authorized representations of deities in the temples. Thus, one can practice meditating upon the deity, concentrating his mind on the lotus feet of the Lord, and gradually rising higher and higher up to his smiling face.
Yes. And in the next part of the purport, I will just paraphrase what Srila Prabhupada is writing. Srila Prabhupada basically writes that the rasa dance, which is described in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is compared to like the lotus feet of the Lord. So just like darshan of the Lord, we are advised to take one by one, starting from lotus feet, then the ankles, then calves, thighs, waist, chest, so on and so forth. So similarly, Srila Prabhupada explains that one should not directly jump to read through the rasa dance, which is like the lotus feet, lotus face. One should go step by step right from the lotus feet. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, which specific cantos they are mentioned as the lotus feet of the Lord, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Which specific cantos? We have covered this earlier. Yes. 1 and 2, correct. So 1 and 2 cantos, they are specifically considered as the lotus feet of the Lord, which means Prabhupada is driving that point that while studying Srimad Bhagavatam, we should proceed canto by canto and then ultimately reading through Lord Krishna's pastimes in the 10th canto. So rest of the purport, all of you can read through Prabhuji's, Mataji's. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions one more point. The result of meditation on the transcendental form of the Lord will be manifested by one's detachment from sense gratification. So there is a very famous verse by Yamunacharya that Yad Avadhi Mama Cheta Krishna Padaravindayor Navanavarasadhamani Udyatam Rantum Asit Tat Avadhi Batanari Sangame Smaryamane Bhavati Mukha Vikarah Sushtu Nishti Vanamcha. So Yamunacharya says that, my dear Lord, since the time my mind has become engaged in the meditation on your different bodily limbs, whenever the thoughts of sense gratification come to my mind, I become disgusted with those thoughts and I spit at those thoughts. So that is the experience of a devotee who has developed test in transcendental realization. So sense gratification tendency goes away. All right, so we proceed text 14. Anybody wants to recite Hare Krishna? Gita Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
यावन्न जायेत परावरेऽस्मिन्
Yavan
Jayeta
Paravaresmin
विश्वेश्वरे द्रष्टरि भक्तियोगः
Vishveshware Drushtari Bhakta Yoga
तावत्स्थयामि पुरुषस्य रूपम्
Tavat Staviya Purushasya Rupam
तावसाने प्रयतः स्मरेतः
Kriya Vasani Prayata Smareta. Translation.
Translation. Unless the gross materialist develops a sense of loving service unto the Supreme Lord, the seer of both the transcendental and material worlds, he should remember or meditate upon the universal form of the Lord at the end of his prescribed duties.
Yes. So here, Shukadev Goswami is basically explaining step by step hierarchy, how one should gradually proceed from level 1 to level 2, and only when level 2 is accomplished properly, only then one should proceed to level 3. Now, what are these levels? Hare Krishna. Excuse me. So, what are these levels? First level is mentioned as those people who are following the duties given in Varnashram institution. That means the prescribed duties of Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. So these prescribed duties one is supposed to follow till when? Till one is able to meditate upon the Virata Rupa, upon the universal form. And one is required to follow this process of meditation on the Virata Rupa till the sense of loving service unto the Supreme Lord develops. So we will see some example. Let me go to the slide. So say, example, I will take the last example first. Say, you might have seen someone getting into a running train or getting off a running train. Of course, one is not advised to do that. It is a very dangerous thing to do. But you might have seen people taking a running train. So how do they take a running train or a bus? Prabhujis, Matajis, can anyone explain briefly? What is the process of taking a running train or getting off a running train?
You run with it for some
Yes.
period.
You
Correct.
develop a momentum a little bit, and then you keep running and put one foot on the vehicle and one foot is off the vehicle, and then you jump
Then-
into it.
Correct. So basically, first step is we start running in parallel to the vehicle, in parallel to the train, till the time that our speed of running is more or less equal to the speed of the train. Only then we can get into the train, right? And same way, while getting off the running train, what we need to do, Prabhujis, Matajis, anyone? How we need to get off a running train? We need to run along with the train after we put our foot down so that we don't fall off, so that we don't lose our balance, because whatever momentum that body has got because of the speed of the train, we have to reduce that momentum gradually. One can't simply jump off the train. What would happen if a person doesn't know how to get off a running train, and if he simply remains static in a perpendicular manner looking outside and try to get off the train and which is moving, what would happen, Prabhujis, Matajis?
You
He-
fall, you
he
have
can
a
fall.
nasty fall. Yeah.
Yeah, he can have a nasty fall and even gets severely injured. So similarly, getting into the moving train means we try to get up to the speed of the vehicle and then we get into it. Similarly, Shukadev Goswami is mentioning Kriya Vasane Prayata Smareta, that Kriya Vasane means the prescribed duties as per Varnashram Dharma. As per Varnashram Dharma, whatever is our to-do list, whatever is our prescribed duties. Say if we are leader of the family, then as a husband, I need to take care of wife, children. As a mother, you need to take care of the husband and children and in-laws and parents, whoever else are there as part of your family. So it is your prescribed duties. So those prescribed duties that have been assigned to us by the circumstances in this world, Shukadev Goswami is saying we should not give them up abruptly. Okay, what is the criteria to move to the next level? That we need to develop sufficient faith in the next level of devotional service. Only then we can give up the prescribed duties. Otherwise, one is not supposed to give up the prescribed duties. And these two words signify that Yavan and Tavat. Yavan means as long as we have not reached the stage of Shraddha in the higher level of devotional service. Till that time, Tavat means till that time, we should not give up our prescribed duties. That is the message from Shukadev Goswami. And in order to explain that, I have also given one example from Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life on the right hand side. Are you able to see the photos on the right hand side? Or are our
Yes, Prabhuji.
okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So these photos might seem similar to you. Looking both the photo, second and the third image, it might look similar, but it is different. So in the second photo, we see Kurma Brahman. Of course, by mistake, I have put the Vasudev the leper, but for example's sake, consider this personality as Kurma Brahman. Who is Kurma Brahman? When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling to South India Yatra, South India tour, he visited a place in Andhra Pradesh. I don't know whether it is exactly in Andhra Pradesh or Telangana, but in that area called Kurma Kshetra. And in that particular place, there is a beautiful temple of Kurma, Lord Kurma, which is the tortoise incarnation of the Lord. And there was staying one particular devotee. His name was Kurma Brahman. And this particular personality, devotee, wanted to dedicate his whole life in the service of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and expressed his desire to give up his family life and join Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his South India tour. Okay, so that request was made. So leave it at that point for the time being. Third photo gives example of one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, he was the son of a, who was he? The son of Prabhuji's Mataji's? He was son of a millionaire. Millionaire, in fact, much higher, richer than that. Millionaire father and uncle, Hiranya and Govardhan Majumdar. So he was a heir to the very rich family, and he also expressed his desire to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to renounce the worldly opulence and responsibilities and take sannyas and dedicate his life to the service of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So here we see two specific set of devotees more or less going with the same request to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So all of us are still together, Prabhuji's Mataji's. What request has been put by Kurma Brahman and Raghunath Das Goswami? Yes, anybody has any doubt what is happening?
It's clear, Prabhuji.
Okay, okay. So now let us see what is the feedback. What is the feedback from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to these two devotees? First, Kurma Brahman, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that don't leave your family responsibilities. Continue in the family life and you continue to preach by chanting the holy names of the Lord and continue to preach while handling the household responsibilities. That is the instruction Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave to Kurma Brahman. And to Raghunath Das Goswami, he basically allowed him to take the renounced order of life subsequently. Initially, for some time, he kept him in his home and gave him the what is the example he gave, that a wife who has got a paramour, she serves the husband even more nicely so that the husband doesn't suspect. And Raghunath Das Goswami got his clue. That means he should continue to perform his duties towards his parents and uncle and all that, managing the business. And till the time he gets an indication by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to renounce everything. So, two personalities, same request, and different instructions given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And scriptures explain the reason for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to give this different set of instruction was the level of maturity of renunciation between Kurma Brahman and Raghunath Das Goswami. Because the renunciation of Raghunath Das Goswami was mature, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu allowed him to renounce everything and ultimately take sannyas and dedicate his entire life for the service of Lord Chaitanya. And as far as Kurma Brahman was concerned, because that renunciation was not as matured as Raghunath Das Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not allow him to give up the family responsibilities. So, point is, one can take the higher responsibilities and give up the lower ones only in one condition: when one has developed sufficient shraddha, sufficient faith at the higher level. So, is that point clear, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Can anyone explain what is the preliminary level
Yes,
and
Prabhuji.
what is the higher level? Anyone? What is the preliminary level mentioned by Shukadev Goswami? Kriya Vasane. That is the preliminary level. And what does Kriya Vasane mean? The
Doing your jobs,
prescribed,
doing
yeah,
your
prescribed duties.
duties.
Correct. Prescribed duties as per Varnashram is the very
Varnashram.
basic. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, sorry, Shukadev Goswami is explaining, don't give up your prescribed duties prematurely. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stopped Kurma Brahman from doing that because his renunciation was not up to the next level yet, and Mahaprabhu knew it. And only when that Shraddha, that faith is matured to that level, then one is allowed to give up the prescribed duties. And what does giving up the prescribed duties mean, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? What does it mean?
Detachment.
Detachment. And what order of life?
Taking higher responsibility, Prabhuji.
Correct.
Taking
Higher
a different.
responsibility. Taking, mainly it means taking the sannyas, vanaprastha and sannyas, these higher levels of social order. So that is allowed only when one is able to mature in his or her devotional service.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Even Bhagavad Gita,
Mhm.
Krishna mentions that you are
Yes,
supposed to do your prescribed duties and properly. Even
yeah.
if you do it improperly, it is better than those you take the prescribed duty of someone else. Right?
Very nice, Prabhuji. So I have jotted down few verses both from Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, where Lord Krishna, as Prabhuji rightly mentioned, uh, cautions us from not to prematurely give up the prescribed duties. And let me just go through. We won't recite all the verses, maybe just the translation. Anyone wants to read through the translations, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Lalita Vinodini Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Only the
Yes.
translation, no?
Yes.
One should not prematurely give up one's prescribed duties.
You can read from top, Mataji, as long as.
Yeah. As long as one is not satiated by fruitive activity and has not awakened his taste for devotional service by Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, one has to act according to the regulative principles of Vedic injunction. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.20.9.
Yeah.
Next
So
one is.
specific higher test Krishna is referring to in this Srimad Bhagavatam verse is test in Shravanam Kirtanam, in hearing about the Lord. Till that time that test is developed fully, don't give up prescribed duties. That is one instruction. Next one, Mataji.
Yeah. For one who is a neophyte in the Eightfold Yoga system, work is said to be the means. And for one who is already elevated in yoga, cessation of all material activities is said to be the means. Bhagavad Gita 6.3.
Yeah, that means for a beginner, for a neophyte, or in modern lingo, it is called newbies. For newbies, prescribed duties are supposed to be once what one should follow. Only one who is advanced in yoga practice in terms of Shraddha, only he is allowed cessation of the prescribed duties. Next one, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. But for one who takes pleasure in the self, whose human life is one of the self-realization, and who is satisfied in the self only, fully satiated, for him there is no duty. Bhagavad Gita 3.17.
Yes. So there are two stages that are mentioned in the scriptures for all types of transcendentalists, whether he or she be a Jnana yogi, an Ashtanga yogi, or even a Bhakti yogi. So beginning stage is called as Aru Ruksha and advanced stage is called as Arudha. You might have remembered these words we had learnt in Bhakti Shastri, chapter 6. Aruruksha stage of yoga practice and Aruda, Yoga Ruda stage of yoga practice. Aruda means advanced stage. So for one in the beginning stage, Aruruksha stage, continue with the prescribed duties, and for one in the advanced or Aruda stage, then one can renounce the prescribed duties. So these examples are clear, Prabhuji's, Mataji's. We saw the example of the person getting into a running train, getting off a running train, and we saw the different instructions given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to two disciples with the same request. So is it clear, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, what is the criteria?
Yes, Prabhuji.
All right. So let us proceed to the... So each and every purport I am not covering, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, you can go through at your leisure. Otherwise, what would happen? As I mentioned last time, the attention span of all of us is limited. And if we read every single line of the purport, then devotees tend to lose that attention. So we will focus on the key points. Yeah. So next is text 15. Usha Mataji, you want to recite?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare
Text 2.15, Hare Krishna. Sthiram sukham cha sanam astito yatir.
Sthiram sukham cha sanam asthito yati
Yada jihasur imam angalokam.
yada
jihasur
jihasur imam angalokam
Kale cha deshe cha mano na sajjayet.
kale cha deshe cha mano na sajjaet
Pranan niyachen manasa jitasuhu.
pranam yachen manasa jitasu. Translation.
Yeah, translation and purport. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. O King, whenever the yogi desires to leave this planet of human beings, he should not be perplexed about the proper time or place, but should comfortably sit without being disturbed, and regulating the life air should control the senses by the mind.
Thank you, Mataji. So question to everyone, which sort of yogi is Shukadev Goswami talking about currently the discussion? Which specific yogi? The Paramatma meditator. The Virat Rupa meditator, the process and how he or she achieves their goal, it will come later, text 22 onwards. Till text 21, the process being covered is for the Paramatma meditator. So be clear with that. So let me go to the slide. Mataji, did you read the translation?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, fine. So for a Paramatma meditator, it is said here by Shukadev Goswami, that when it is time for him to leave the body, he should not be disturbed. He should sit at a proper place and wait for a proper time. And if you remember, all of you, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, what is the typical time that the yogis prefer to give up their bodies? Which time of the
During
year?
Uttarayan?
Yes, very nice.
Uttarayan?
During the Uttarayan, when the sun is in the northern hemisphere. Even great devotees like Bhishma Dev also waited for Uttarayan. Of course, Bhishma is such a great devotee. Anytime he would have passed, he would have still gone back home, back to Godhead. But he did wait for Uttarayan. So many yogis, they do wait for Uttarayan period to give up their body. And what is mentioned? He should sit at a proper place, wait for the proper time. And
Yes.
he should regulate the life air, should control the senses by mind. So here I have mentioned how the gradual progression for such a yogi happens. What is the goal of any type of yogi, either Virata Rupa meditator or Paramatma meditator? Goal is same, liberation. But is it the ultimate goal, Prabhuji's Mataji's? Not necessarily. Why? Because Bhagavad Gita explains that even for such a yogi who has achieved the merging into the Brahman, who has realized the Brahman platform, even he can proceed one step further to achieve para bhakti. We are all familiar with this famous verse from Bhagavad Gita 18th chapter. Yes. So anyone would like to recite these verses, Prabhuji's Mataji's famous set of verses from Bhagavad Gita 18:54-55. Shama Gopika Mataji.
ब्रह्मभूत प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते पराम् भक्त्या मामभिजानाति यावान् यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तदनन्तरम् हरे कृष्ण
Thank you, Mataji. So that means after reaching the topmost stage that is possible through this yoga practice, either they do Paramatma meditation or they do the Virat Rupa meditation, as will be clear in the subsequent verses. From all these two paths, ultimately what the yogis can expect to achieve is the liberation, which is mainly the impersonal liberation, merging into the Brahman, Brahma Jyoti, emanating from Lord Krishna's body. But after reaching that Brahma Bhuta platform, there is an option available for such a yogi, such a Ashtanga yogi, if he wants to try for para. Para means that which is beyond that level, to try for para bhakti. And if he aspires to do so, he has the option to become a devotee even from the level of a Brahman realized soul. And then he can attain liberation, as a sense, perfection through devotional service. And once he realizes that bhakti is even one step higher, para bhakti, then he understands the Lord truly. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Abhijanati means exactly as Krishna is, only a devotee is able to understand tattvataha. And when he is in such consciousness, ultimately he can achieve the perfection of entering into the planet of God. So the point is, the Paramatma meditator, while he needs to take care of all these regulations, sit in a proper place, check for the proper time, make sure that the life air is focused. And in the next verse, it will be discussed how the life air should come out of the body. It is also fixed, it is also prescribed for such a meditator. If that doesn't happen, then the destination can be totally different. So we will go through the highlighted part of the purport. Uh, Usha Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Such devotees do not need to seek an opportune moment to leave the present body. But those who are mixed devotees, alloyed with fruitive action or empirical philosophical speculation, require an opportune moment for quitting this body. For them, the opportune moments are stated in the Bhagavad Gita 8.23 to 26. But these opportune moments are not as important as one's being a successful yogi who is able to quit his body as he likes. Such a yogi must be competent to control his senses by the mind. The mind is easily conquered simply by engaging it at the lotus feet of the Lord. Gradually, by such service, all the senses become automatically engaged in the service of the Lord. That is the way of merging into the Supreme Absolute. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. So here, Srila Prabhupada is writing in the purport that devotees don't need to bother about all these restrictions, all these constraints, that we must leave our body at this particular time, we must sit in a proper posture, we must let the life air leave our body in a particular manner. We don't need to follow all these nitty gritties. And in the slide, I have shown the I have shown the example. If you refer to the last photo on the right hand side, anybody wants to guess, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, what photo is this?
Srila Prabhupada has been brought down.
Yes, brought down. And
Which is-
which place? I think it will be a bit too much unless you have seen the place. All right, so I will tell you the place. It is Bhaktivedanta Manor, and the timeline is September 1977. So exactly when Srila Prabhupada left his body, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, anyone? When did Srila Prabhupada leave his body in the material, in this world?
1977.
Yeah, November 14th, 1977. So around just 2 months before Srila Prabhupada's departure from this material world, we see Prabhupada expressed his desire to travel to West, starting with London, and then he was supposed to go further to New York and all to preach. But what happened, because Prabhupada was already having a very fragile health, his health was, he was not eating much and all, so he was not having much bodily strength. So while he went up till London, devotees found it very difficult for Prabhupada's body to sustain the rigor of traveling and preaching so long distances. So from London, he was brought back to Vrindavan. So the point I'm trying to explain is that what would be the typical thought process for a materialist if he is at such a stage that body is giving up its strength, and one knows very well that death can come anytime. What would be the typical mentality, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? What would they want to do?
Relax and rest.
Material gains.
Yeah,
Material gains.
probably they won't want to leave Vrindavan at all, just to be on a safer side. They would want to make sure that they stay in Vrindavan and leave their body in Vrindavan so that they get the benefit of leaving their body in Dham. But what was Prabhupada's mentality? Was Prabhupada thinking like that? Prabhuji's, Mataji's, how was Prabhupada's mentality different? What did he think as a priority?
Preaching.
To preach, Prabhu.
Preach, correct. So even in such a fragile state of health, Srila Prabhupada decided to take risk and travel to London, and he had plans to travel to New York also, but seeing his health situation, devotees stopped him at London and they brought him back to Vrindavan. So the point is, coming back to Srila Prabhupada's purport, Prabhupada is saying that devotees don't need to take care of all these constraints to leave the present body. These constraints are mainly for whom? Prabhuji's, Mataji's? For a? Yes?
Materials.
Not for
Yogi.
for a
No, no,
yogis. For a
Yogi.
yogi. Yeah. Paramatma meditator. Very simple. Okay? Are we still together, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Hare
Yes,
Krishna. Okay.
But one question, Prabhuji. I
Mhm.
mean, it is for the Paramatma, Paramatma going towards that direction, but it doesn't mean that the bhaktis, if he wants to go that direction, he's not allowed to. He can still follow it.
He can still follow, right? But what is his primary criteria for a yogi? That, boss, I don't want to leave my body at a wrong moment and then again
Yes.
fall back into this material world.
Yeah.
So he's very, very concerned to get out of this material world and by hook or crook, but not fall back. Whereas what is the aspiration for a devotee? Mama janmani janmani shware bhavatat
Yeah.
bhaktir ahetuki tvai. That, my dear
Yeah.
Lord, even if you give me next birth in the form of an insect or a animal, I am fine as long as I stay in association of your devotees. As long as I stay engaged in your service, that is good enough for me. So devotees don't bother too much about these restrictions. So we proceed.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, one question.
Yeah.
So in this verse, it is mentioned that he should not be perplexed about the proper time or place. So here, is it referring to like Paramatma meditator or a devotee?
It's referring to Paramatma meditator. So this whole set of verses is talking only about Paramatma meditator.
Okay, so in that case, like Paramatma meditator also does not care whether it is like proper time or
He
place.
It doesn't say does not. It says it should
Okay,
not. It should
should
not.
not.
That
Yeah,
means that is the ideal level.
okay.
Okay. And as it will be clear in the subsequent verses, that what is the practicality that is followed by a Paramatma meditator, it will come in the next set of verses. So this is the ideal that is mentioned. Is that all right, Shama Gopika
Okay.
Mataji?
Okay.
Hare Krishna. So we proceed. Let me see. So this subsequent verses we'll have to rely heavily on the slides. Anybody wants to recite Prabhuji's Mataji's Hare Krishna? Lalita Vinodini Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Manasvabudhya malaya niyamya
Manasvabudhya
Buddhya
malaya
malaya niyamya
kshetrajnayetam ninayetam
kshetra
Kshetra
jayetam
Ninayetam
ninayetam
Atmani.
Atmanamatmani avarudhya dhira
Atmanam Atmani
avarudhya
Avarudhya
dhiro
Dhiro
labdopashantir virameta krityat
Labdho
labdho
Pashantir
pashantir virameta krityat.
Translation.
Translation purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thereafter, the yogi should merge his mind by his unalloyed intelligence into the living entity and then merge the living entity into the super self. And by doing this, the fully satisfied living entity becomes situated in the supreme stage of satisfaction so that he ceases from all other activities.
Yes. So here, how a yogi, he basically merges all of his gross and subtle bodily elements one by one is mentioned here. So let me. Yeah. So I think it is clearly mentioned on the screen, so it will be easier. But any reference, do we recollect Prabhuji's Mataji's of any devotee who merged his different bodily constituents one after another while going back home, back to Godhead? Do we remember any such example? Yes, Mataji?
Bhishma Deva, I think.
Bhishmadev. Yeah. So for Bhishmadev, it is mentioned that he remembering and focusing his mind on the Lord's transcendental form, he gave up his body. But I have given the reference here from the first canto 1.5.41 purport. So let us open this 1.5.41. King Yudhishthir. Oops, I think I made a mistake. I think this is Pandavas retire timely. That is the chapter. So it's not 5 chapter. It is 15 if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So it's 1:15:41. Yes. So here it is mentioned. Then he means Yudhishthir Maharaj. He amalgamated all his sense organs into mind, mind into life, life into breathing, and da da da. Basically, the gross constituents of the body, they were merged into subtle constituents, and then subtle constituents into further subtler constituents before completely giving up one's body. So this is the method. Let me just correct it. Yeah. So this is a method that is deployed by a yogi. Then one question might arise that Yudhishthir Maharaj, was he a Paramatma meditator? Prabhuji's Mataji's. Why did he do that if he was not a Paramatma meditator? He is a pure devotee of the Lord, as we know. Why did he do that? Any thoughts? Yes. Let me ask someone who has not spoken. Anyone? Rajashri Mataji, Vivek Prabhu, Usha Mataji, Lalita Vinodini Mataji, Prema Priya Mataji, and all other devotees. So I know I'm not expecting everyone to answer, but you can think and probably try and speculate. Of course, that is not the ideal, but
A vague answer, Prabhuji. He was a Kshatriya and he was a king, so he
yes.
behaved in such a way that he was not a sannyasi.
Very nice. So it is quite close to the answer. So Yudhishthir Maharaj, he was a king And Srimad Bhagavatam also mentions that when Pandavas were living their body and all, they were probably in a circumstances where there were such yogis around, and he did practice that particular method. Anyway, even if he would not have practiced that method, he would have still gone back home, back to Godhead. Just that Yudhishthir Maharaj and Pandavas followed this method of giving up their uh, gross material elements of the body and merging them into subtler ones. So Srila Prabhupada explains that for a pure devotee, Ananya devotee, he doesn't have to bother about all this, when to leave the body, how to leave the body, and all that. But for a Mishra, Mishra means mixed devotee, like either Karma Mishra devotee, Jnana Mishra devotee, or Yoga Mishra devotees. For all of them, they need to follow all these constraints when they leave the body and all. And as we will see in the subsequent verses, it is not just about time. Even the process they need to follow is quite stringent. How the Shat Chakra Yoga, how the life air should be moved from one portion of the body to the one chakra to next chakra, ultimately till it comes to the head, and then from the Brahmarandra. Brahmarandra is nothing but this particular portion of the head on top of our head. From there, the life air, prana of this yogi should leave the body. If it doesn't happen, then what would be the result? If the prana or life air leaves from anus, or if it leaves from the mouth, then the destination achieved by such persons can be totally different. Typically, the scriptures mention when the life air leaves from evacuatory organ, anus, then the person is likely to get his next birth or her next birth in the lower planetary system. When the life air leaves through the mouth, then the person is likely to get his next birth in the Bhumandala, in the contemporary planets where we are staying. And if the life air leaves from Brahmarandra, that is top of one's head, then one is destined to achieve a very highest destination, including liberation and all that.
Prabhuji,
Yes,
can I?
Mataji. Yeah, yeah.
Mostly like for all living beings, whomever I've seen or I've heard, either through anus or through mouth or through eyes, or
Yes.
it happens that way. Even
Correct.
the saints, whomever I had heard of, after their passing also, they break open the skull. They do that
Yeah,
manually. They do just to show that they have left.
yeah,
So,
and
but
it is not that simple, like just by manually doing, the person will pass through the Brahmarandra. They have to be really qualified. It is not a mechanical method to do. And anyway, as Mataji rightly mentioned, I don't know how many of us have seen people leaving their bodies. By Krishna's inconceivable will, I had that opportunity quite a few times, uh, including grandma, including my father-in-law and all that. And many times we do see when the person is living, has left the body, the mouth will be open. You have seen that, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, in the photos also. So that means, of course, we should not speculate. We are not up to that level, especially if that person is a devotee, we should not speculate. But in general, we can try to observe and analyze that how, if the mouth is open, that means it is very likely that the life air has left through the mouth, and so on and so forth. When the life air leaves through evacuatory organ, how do we understand? It is mentioned that those of you who would have spoken with the what is that setup called where the people about to die are brought up? What is it called? Anyone remembers? So in that particular facility, it is mentioned that many of the people, especially the materialists who have
Hospice.
yeah, hospice. In hospice, I have heard from various devotees that many of the people who have led a very materialistic life, they become so scared at the time of giving up their body that typically it is seen that the person passes urine and stool while leaving the body. And this is also an indication that probably the life air has left from the evacuatory organ. And as per the scriptures, as per Bhagavad Gita, the destination is gained accordingly. And here it is mentioned in the next verse that I have shown from the Karma Yoga section that for a materialist, versus for a pure devotee, how this hierarchy of gross and the subtle sense organs, how it differs. Like for a materialist, the sense objects, they cover the senses they cover the mind, the mind not cover, control. The mind controls the intelligence, and intelligence, once it is stolen, then the soul again falls through the cycle of birth and death. Whereas for a pure devotee, it is mentioned that the senses are superior to the dull matter or the sense objects. Intelligence is superior to the senses, and mind is superior to the senses, and intelligence is superior to even mind for a pure devotee. The next question comes, for a sadhaka bhakta, what type of hierarchy does exist? So for a sadhaka bhakta, it is very dynamic. As in, normally it is supposed to be what it is mentioned for the ananya devotees, for a pure devotees. But for a sadhaka bhakta, sometimes there can be accidental fall downs. That means sometimes there can be senses taking over the mind, or sense objects taking over the senses, or mind taking over the intelligence. That can happen sometimes for a sadhaka bhakta. But for a yogi, basically on a high level, the gross material constituents of the body, they need to be given up first, followed by the subtle material constituents, and it will be further explained in the subsequent verse. Any question, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Is it very
Hare Krishna.
lofty? Hare Krishna.
Yeah,
Yes.
Prabhuji, as you said, like for the sadhaka bhakta, there can be accidental fall down. So in that case, still like he can be go like he can go to the lower planets, is it? Or because we have seen in Bhagavad Gita verse that Neha Vikramanashusti Pratyavayana Vidyate Swalpa Bhappyasya Dharmasya Thrayate Mahato Vayat. So we, I mean, we can still hope like there can be
Fall
some
downs and
chance given to us in the next life, or yeah.
Yes, Mataji. So for a devotee, as you rightly mentioned, it is not the karma phala that is taken, that is the supremely in controlling power. For a devotee, Lord himself takes charge of his or her life, and he makes sure what destination that a devotee should go to continue his or her devotional service properly. So even if there are accidental fall downs based on 931 and 932, we see Lord Krishna assuring, as long as the devotee is continuing in his or her devotional service, and that fall down is accidental, it is not a pre-planned one due to the past conditionings, then the devotee is safe. Is that all right? And we see examples of so many personalities. Which example? Like in Krishna book, we see the example of King Nruga, who inadvertently made a mistake in the discharge of his duties, where the cow which was donated came back, and he had to take birth as a lizard, and Krishna liberated him. We see the what else? Any other example we can give of a devotee who has fallen into the lower condition?
Nalakuvera Manigriva.
Yes, Nalakuver Manigriva, very true. Both of these personalities, they were fallen into the life of utmost ignorance, taking the body of Arjuna trees. But Krishna liberated them and elevated them. We see
Bharata, Jada Bharata,
Jada
Bharata,
Bharat,
and
yes. Bharat, Jada Bharat, taking the form of deer before Jada Bharat's life, and Krishna personally managing the upbringing part, getting him back to Godhead. So there are so many such examples. Krishna personally manages the destiny for a devotee rather than let his or her karmas dictate the destiny.
the
Okay.
elephant and
Gajendra,
the
Gajendra,
Gajendra,
yes,
Gajendra Moksha, and also the Makara, Prabhuji, the one
Makar,
which killed the crocodile
You
which killed him.
crocodile,
yeah.
correct.
It's actually a Rakshasa, but then it takes the form of a thing. But then uh,
Yes,
Vishnu by his chakra actually
Mhm.
liberates him.
right. And
That's
it
so
is
long.
mentioned that that crocodile was liberated even before Gajendra
Yeah.
himself. So that was the beauty. Main reason being Krishna wanted to relieve Gajendra of the pain of that crocodile biting its leg. So to do that, Krishna first killed and liberated the crocodile, and then he liberated Gajendra. So through all these examples, we see
Prabhuji,
Hare, Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
Even in that case, Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, because he has killed so many people with his own hands, like because of his touch. When Putana, Kamsa, everybody comes up.
Everybody. Correct, correct. So all these are very, very special demons. They are fortunate demons because they were really big in their scale of demoniac mentality that Krishna had to personally intervene. Problem happens when a person is a smaller demon who Krishna doesn't have to personally bother, then the problem comes. If one is really that big a demon, then one can be liberated. So better
Yeah,
to be
but
a devotee. Yeah, yes, Prabhuji.
yeah,
Like
these demons are also Jaya Vijaya, isn't it,
Jai
Prabhuji?
Vijay, correct, correct. Yes,
Who are the gatekeepers of Vishnu.
Vishnu, correct, correct, Prabhuji. You were saying something, Mataji?
Yeah, I was thinking of Sishupal. So I don't know whether he got liberated. Sishupal was.
Yes, he got liberated. In fact, that was the question asked by Yudhishthir Maharaj to Narad Muni, that this particular personality, uh, from the very birth, first word he learnt in his life was blasphemy of Lord Krishna. So despite being so much envy towards Lord Krishna, how did he get liberated in front of everyone? And there is a beautiful, beautiful chapter in Srimad Bhagavatam. I believe it is the first chapter of Canto 7, where uh, one second. So that chapter is entitled "The Lord is Equal to Everyone." And in that particular chapter, Narada Muni explains to Yudhishthir Maharaj that according to him, probably devotees also can't have meditation on the Supreme Lord as intensely or as nicely as some of these demons have achieved. So that is Narad Muni's realization. So of course, Narad Muni is a great devotee of the Lord, so we have to respect his opinion. But that is true. He mentions that's why it is not surprising that all of them got a very exalted positions because of their intense absorption on the Supreme Lord. Is that all right, Shama Gopika Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
Correct. And to be honest, that is our only hope, that if we decide to achieve a higher destination based on our own merit, at least I can tell for myself, it is hopeless. Our only hope is that we try our level best and Krishna gives us some grace marks. Only then it is possible. Hare Krishna. So let us.
And there is also somewhere it is mentioned, right, Prabhu, in Bhagavad Gita, like even if devotee does not remember Krishna, Krishna remembers the devotee. Like he doesn't allow the devotee to fall down. I don't remember the
Yes.
exact place where it is mentioned, but
Yes, it is
yeah,
mentioned
yeah,
that for a devotee who has sincerely practiced throughout
yeah,
his life,
sincerely practiced.
yeah,
Yeah.
even if he does not remember Krishna, Krishna will remember him at the time. And there are few very nice graphic examples, but we will cover them some
It's
other
given in
time.
Varaha Purana, Prabhuji.
Varaha Purana. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's in Bhajantras yet put. Mataji had put.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says, isn't it, Prabhuji, that
Yes. Yes. Prabhu.
even if person who is always thinking about me, neither I will forget him nor
Yeah.
he will forget me, something like that.
Yeah. So for him, Krishna is never lost, and for
Lost.
Krishna, he is also never lost.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. So let us proceed. So next is
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Can I Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, can I request you one? Can I request you, because of incessant rains here, Prabhu, the signal has been very bad. So 60% of the time you spoke, I could not hear. So I would request you to please put the
Slides.
link for the class,
Yes.
update the link immediately after the class, so that
Yes.
I can watch the class again.
Yes, Prabhuji. We'll do that. Hare Krishna. Any devotee, Prabhuji's,
Thank you.
Mataji's, Hare Krishna, wants to recite the verse? Anyone? All right. Let me just see. Usha Kamat Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Text 2.17. Na yatra kalo animisham para prabhu.
न यत्र कालो अनिमिषां परः प्रभुः
Kuto nu deva jagatam ya ishire.
कुतो नु देवा जगतां य ईशिरे
Na yatra sattvam narajastamascha.
न यत्र सत्त्वं न रजस्तमश्च
Na vai vikaro na mahan pradhanam.
न वै विकारो न महाप्रधाना. So here in this verse, Shukadev Goswami is glorifying the position of Paramatma meditators. What is he saying? Na yatra kalo animisham para prabhuhu. Animisham in the translation, Prabhupada mentions as devatas, demigods. So what is nimisham? Nimisham means we knowingly, unknowingly blink our eyelids so many times, blink our eyes so many times in a minute. But specifically for the devatas, it is apparently, even I came to know today only while studying this verse, that animisham, apparently they don't blink their eyes, the devatas. And even such devatas, na yatra kalo animisham parah prabhu, that the destructive time energy of the Lord, it cannot act upon these devatas, what to speak of these Paramatma meditators. So the time factor of the Lord definitely has no influence on the Paramatma meditator. And what else is mentioned? Mataji, you want to read through the translation?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. In the transcendental state of Labdho Pashanti, there is no supremacy of devastating time which controls even the celestial demigods who are empowered to rule over mundane creatures. And what to speak of the demigods themselves? Nor is there the mode of material goodness, nor passion, nor ignorance, nor even the false ego, nor the material causal ocean, nor the material nature.
Yes. So it is saying that if the time factor of the Lord, which is superior even to the Devatas, which is encompassing even the Devatas' domain, if that cannot have influence on the Paramatma meditators, what to speak of Devatas who come at a lower level compared to the time factor? And it is explained that in our prescribed duties, say for example, for a person who is not a devotee, if he or she does not follow their prescribed duties, including uh, yagyas towards devatas, forefathers, etc., then that person is liable with resultant reactions from the devata side, because the prescribed duties, varnashram prescribed duties, have not been followed properly. But if for a Paramatma meditator, if there is any gap in his sadhana practice, in his meditation, then devatas cannot have their influence either to reward or to punish such a Paramatma meditator. So a Paramatma meditator, in essence, he is beyond the jurisdiction of the demigods, devatas. So is this point clear, Prabhuji's, Matajis? Let's go through the few examples. Yeah, for a person who has reached this platform of jnana, transcendental stage of labdho pashanti, this is the word Prabhupada has used. Labdho pashanti, the kala, devastating time, which has influence even on demigods, has no influence on such a yogi. And Krishna also mentions in Bhagavad Gita, a self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties, nor has any reason to perform, not to perform such work, nor has he any need to depend on any other living being. That means for a liberated person, the varnashram restrictions practically do not apply. For a person who has developed that shraddha, that faith at a higher level of devotional practice, he is not bound by the reactions coming from the devatas. Any queries, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, Hare Krishna? Does it seem very extravagant.
No, Prabhuji, that's basically that one. It also indicates that he does not have anything to do with the material nature.
Provided he has achieved the platform of labdho pashanti. He
Labdo Pashant. Yes.
correct. Only then.
Because
Yes.
because when you say he's not dependent on any other creatures, it means that even for food he is not dependent.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So, so many examples we can give. Say, for example, the famous example is Shukadev Goswami. We saw the wonderful description of Shukadev Goswami, how he is to stand at a door of a householder only till the time it used to take to milk a cow. And in the name of accepting that charity, he used to enlighten the householders. So we see the same Shukadev Goswami. He is not attached or worried what will happen to my student, Parikshit Maharaj. When he gave the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, before Takshaka came and Parikshit Maharaj went back home, back to Godhead, Shukadev Goswami had already left that particular place. What does it mean? It means that such a advanced transcendental yogi is above all these levels of attachments and actions and reactions. They are not bound by actions and reaction. We also see for Shukadev Goswami, when the young girls for whom Vyasadeva was up to the level of their grandfather, they immediately covered their bodies when Vyasadeva passed by. But when Shukadev Goswami, who was 16-year-old, was passing through, they didn't even bother to cover themselves, knowing, looking into his eyes, that he is a liberated person. So point is, such a labdho pashanti platform personality is not bound by the normal constraints from the devatas, etc. Any queries, Prabhujis, Matajis, Hare Krishna? Are we still on track together?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Hare Krishna. So I am not going through the purport. I want to cover 4 more verses. So Dhanya Dhameshwari Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
Param Padam Vaishnavam Amananti Tat
Param Padam Vaishnavam Amananti Tad
Yanneti Nitya Adat Utshikshava
Yanneti Neti Atat Utsrish
Utsrishravaksa.
Shwa. Yes, Mataji.
Vishrejya Dhauratmayam Ananya Sauhrada
Visrujya Daurayam Ananya Sauda
Hridayo Paguhyarha Padam Pade Pade
Hridayo Paguhyarha Padam Pade
Pade. Translation.
The transcendentalists desire to avoid everything godless, for they know that supreme situation in which everything is related with the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Therefore, a pure devotee who is in absolute harmony with the Lord does not create perplexities but worships the lotus feet of the Lord at every moment, taking them into his heart.
Yes. So here it is mentioned that even for such a yogi, such a Paramatma meditator, if they want to come to the level of Brahman realization, what is the criteria? What stage they need to achieve? Prabhuji's, Mataji's? What is the line in the translation? Try.
He should not create perplexities.
Yes. What else? That is true. What else he needs to do?
He
Positive.
should worship the lotus feet of the Lord at every moment.
Taking them into his
To his
heart.
heart.
Correct. So that means, yes, Prabhu.
Hrudopaguhya Arha Padam Pade Pade.
Correct. Correct. So even such a Brahman aspiring or Brahman realization aspiring yogi, for him to achieve perfection in his yoga practice, he also needs to come to the realization of the personal form of the Lord and meditate, worship the lotus feet of the Lord within his heart. Only then he can achieve the topmost goal, which is liberation. So meaning not just for devotees, even for the Paramatma meditators, to achieve perfection in their pursuit, they need to meditate upon the lotus feet of the Lord within their heart. So let me go to the slide.
Prabhuji, who is referred to here as transcendentalists? All the three categories we spoke about earlier?
Yeah, very good question. So it refers to the Paramatma meditator, and specifically within Paramatma meditator also Krishna does the categorization that Paramatma meditator who may be attracted to a particular goal, which is say Brahman realization, or even a Paramatma meditator beyond that who after reaching that platform aspires for para bhakti. So all these Paramatma meditators are mentioned as transcendentalist.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So what are the qualities of such a yogi that are mentioned? Utsis Shavaha. Forgive my pronunciation, these are difficult words. He does not desire the material world that is made of matter. His aspiration is always the spiritual world, Brahman. Param Padam Vaishnavam Amananti. What does Vaishnavan Amananti mean? It means the impersonal Brahmajyoti feature coming from the emanating from the body of the Lord. Don't take it as a literal word, Prabhuji's Matajis. You will get confused. We are not Sanskrit experts. We have to rely on Srila Prabhupada and Acharya's commentary for this. So, Param Padam Vaishnavam Amananti, that means they perfectly understand the Brahmajyoti feature of the Lord. And how do they understand the Brahmajyoti feature? Yan neti neti iti. That Brahmajyoti, which the scriptures describe as not this, not this. What does it mean? This material world is made of matter, and neti means that spiritual world, Brahman effulgence emanating from the body of the Lord, is not matter. It is not this matter, the material world type of nature. It does not have. That's why these Paramatma meditators understand that Brahman effulgence is not this matter, it is spirit. Visrujya Dauratmyam. That means he gives up false intelligence, improper understanding. What does improper understanding mean? Various types of improper understanding, including when the Lord comes to this material world, his body is made up of Maya. When the Lord comes to this material world, he accepts body made of matter. All these misconceptions are not there for such a yogi, Paramatma meditator. Ananya Saurudha, and he avoids everything else that is not connected with Krishna. And finally, Rudhopaguyarha Padam Pade Pade. He worships the lotus feet of the Lord within his heart. That means even for a Paramatma meditator aspiring to reach Brahman platform, it is important that he acknowledges the personal form of the Lord and holds Lord's lotus feet as object of his meditation within his heart. Any queries, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, Hare Krishna? Is it very technical or are we still okay?
Actually, Prabhuji, I've
Yes,
read
ma'am.
that even from Lord's lotus feet, with the nails of the Lord, that there is effulgence coming out, Prabhuji.
Correct, yes. So, yes, Brahma Jyoti is nothing but effulgence coming from the overall body plus specifically the toenails of the Lord.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The bottom line is always remember the Lord, isn't
Lord,
it, Prabhuji?
correct.
That
And
is
just,
the
yes, Prabhuji.
final conclusion one can take from here.
Correct. And I will just take a detour. All of us remember the question what Shama Gopika Mataji had asked 2 sessions back, that some of these aspects of the Ashtanga yogis, do the devotees also practice as part of our devotional service? So I had mentioned that yes, very much. There are many commonalities between various transcendental paths. Only difference being we follow those do's and don'ts, the regulations, for a very specific purpose of achieving the personal service to the Lord. Whereas the goal of the Paramatma meditators is usually liberation, Brahman realization. Okay. So very simple, as Murli Prabhu just mentioned, whatever is anukulasya sankalpa, whatever is favorable for our devotional service, whether it is from Ashtanga Yoga, whether it is from any other meditator, we do accept it, and whatever is unfavorable, we leave it aside. We don't get into it.
So there is a certain amount of overlapping.
Overlapping. Correct. Correct.
Yes.
In fact, if we see those 8 stages of Ashtanga Yoga practice, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, Dhyana,
Pratyahara,
Pratyahara,
Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi.
Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. Most of those, if you leave aside the sitting posture and all, they are part of our practice as well. Okay? Hare Krishna. So it's not mutually exclusive, just the goal is different. So yes, so we are now moving to the concluding. Now, in these 3 verses, we will cover together how a Ashtanga yogi leaves his body, and achieve liberation. So I won't read the verses. Maybe we can read just the translation. So let me request any devotee to read. Anyone? Prabhuji's, Mataji's? All right.
Shamagopika Mataji's hand is up, Prabhuji.
Yes. Okay. I just want to give chance to devotees who have not recited. So maybe Prema Priya Mataji will request her once.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes,
Om
ma'am.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Translation.
One second. I think this is 19 onwards. So let me go to the new one. Yeah. Long purports, don't get overwhelmed by that. Yes, Mataji. Translation.
Translation by Divine Grace Prabhupada Ki Jai. By the strength of scientific knowledge, one should be well situated in absolute realization and thus be able to extinguish all material desires. One should then give up the material body by blocking the air hole through which stool is evacuated with the heel of one's foot by lifting the life air from one place to another in the 6 primary places.
Yes. So in this specific verse, Shukadev Goswami is referring to a yoga practice called as Shat Chakra Yoga that Srila Prabhupada also mentions in Bhagavad Gita. If I am not wrong, in chapter 6 and chapter 8, there is reference for Shat Chakra Yoga. That means the life air needs to be passed from one chakra to another, 6 different chakras, and then exit the body through the Brahmarandra, which is top of our head. So you will see so many constraints that a Paramatma meditator needs to be mindful of. What all constraints? One should be well situated in absolute realization, okay? Able to distinguish all material desires. One should then give up the material body by blocking the air hole. That means this Paramatma meditator or yogis need to make mechanical arrangements to make sure that the life air mistakenly does not exit the body from the wrong randhra, from the wrong exit of our body. So they need to practice various type of yoga postures, including blocking the air hole through which the stool is evacuated with the heel of one's foot by lifting the life air from one place to another in the 6 primary places. So here I have mentioned an example for a personality who had practiced that type of yoga, Ashtanga yoga, namely Dhritarashtra. Now, I am not saying Prabhuji's Mataji's that Dhritarashtra was a Paramatma meditator. That much details are not given whether he meditated on Paramatma or he meditated on the Virata Rupa. But Bhagavatam mentions one thing, that Vidura could not give directly devotional service to Dhritarashtra because he was not at that level to receive. All of us remember Prabhuji's, Mataji's, this particular section?
Yes, Prabhuji, yeah.
Yeah. So he is one of the examples, candidate who perfected his life. Of course, perfected meaning to that level. He did not achieve the supreme abode of the Lord, as Bhagavatam mentions. Why we understand he did not achieve? Because Vidura was, Bhagavatam mentions, he was happy and he was sad. That means if really Dhritarashtra would have gone back home, back to Godhead, Vidura would have been jubilant, but he was not jubilant. So Dhritarashtra is one example. Secondly, these six Shat chakras in our body, one of the thing I have also heard is the tilak that we put at 12 different places on our body. That also is to cover all these six chakras and basically spiritualize our body both at the gross platform and also at the subtle level. So it also has significance with respect to the Shat chakras. Of course, we don't necessarily do it with that purpose, but decorating our body with tilak automatically covers this Shat chakra yoga. Any questions, Prabhuji's Mataji?
Prabhuji, I want to ask you one thing. The basic question. In some places it's mentioned that women need not apply all the 12 chakra, I mean the tilaks.
Tilaks.
So,
Okay, I have to be honest, not heard. Maybe other Matajis can confirm, clarify. Have
No,
you
we
heard?
need to apply, Prabhu.
Yeah, and I have seen even my wife do that, apply all the 12 places. So I have not heard this, Mataji.
no, I read it, Prabhuji. Now, of course, I'm following, I'm applying everywhere,
Sure,
but
sure.
yes, yes,
Okay, fine.
yeah. Hare Krishna.
So we proceed. Yeah, we'll just cover the translation for the next verses. Prema Priya Mataji, continue with the translation,
Yes,
the
Prabhuji.
meditative. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Translation. The meditative devotee should slowly push up the life air from the navel to the heart, and there to the chest, and from there to the root of the palate. He should search out the proper places with intelligence.
Yes, so many do's and don'ts are given for a Paramatma meditator to how they should give up their body. And last translation, text 21.
Thereafter, the Bhakti yogi should push the life air up between the eyebrows and then blocking the 7 outlets of the life air. He should maintain his aim for going back home, back to Godhead. If he is completely free from all desires for material enjoyment, he should then reach the cerebral pole and give up his material connections, having gone to the Supreme.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. So don't get confused by the word Bhakti Yogi, okay? We are still in the description of Paramatma meditator. As I mentioned, there are overlapping factors between this particular process and Bhakti Yoga, but Shukadev Goswami has been uniform in covering this particular section fully before moving from text 22 onwards on the Virat Rupa meditator. So till now, 3 out of 4 parts of the chapter we have covered till now. One is what is the process for a Virat Rupa meditator? What is the process for the Paramatma meditator? What is the description of Virat Rupa? What is the description of Paramatma? How does Paramatma meditator achieve liberation? That we covered. And now the last part of this chapter, which is from text 22 till the very end, it is how the Virat Rupa meditator, he achieves the liberation. So maybe we'll just cover one verse and that will be the conclusion for today. Let me, Shama Gopika Mataji, Hare Krishna, you can recite the verse.
Hare Krishna, text 22. Yadi prayasyan nrupaparameshthyam
Yadi prayasya nrupaparameshthyam
vaihayasanam utayadviharam
Vaihayashanam utayad viharam
Ashtadhipatyam gunasannivaye
Ashtadhipatyam gunasannivaye
Sahaiva gacchen manasendriyaischa
Sahaiva gacche manasendriyascha. Translation.
Translation. However, O king, if a yogi maintains a desire for improved material enjoyments, like transference to the topmost planet Brahmaloka, or the achievement of the eightfold perfections, travel in outer space with Vaihayasas, or a situation in one of the millions of planets, then he has to take away with him the materially molded mind and senses.
Yes. So here the topic is changing to which particular category? Prabhuji's, Mataji's?
Virat Rupa meditation.
Correct. So from the Paramatma meditator, now Shukadev Goswami is moving to how the process is followed by the Virat Rupa meditator and how do they reach their uh, goal of liberation. So one particular point which comes here, does it mean that a Virat Rupa meditator, because he desires some material enjoyment, is he a sense gratifier? Prabhuji's, Mataji's, what is your thought? Yes, anyone? Is he a outright sense enjoyer, sense gratifier, like a karmi?
He,
Like a,
can I answer, Prabhuji?
yes, yes.
There may be traces of it.
Okay,
No,
okay. Yes, Murli
he,
Prabhu.
he has cognizance of his senses, and he knows that his senses should be used properly. Yeah, such is that state of a person. He is a dhira, knowledgeable man.
Correct, correct. So here,
Uh,
the yes, Shama
yeah.
Gopika Mat. Yeah.
Uh, Prabhu, he is like a karma yogi, like he wants to, because here what we see is like he wants to achieve the higher planets, right? In this
I would
verse.
say he's much, much higher than even a karma yogi. There is a verse, you can search or I can search afterwards. Amongst kotis of karma yogis, there is one Jnani Bhakta. The
Okay.
verse says. So Jnanis and even that four types of pious people who approach Krishna. In the purport, Prabhupada mentions that Jnanis amongst those four categories are considered the best.
Best,
Hmm.
yes.
Okay.
Even Krishna mentions, I think, in the subsequent verse, Prabhuji, that
Correct.
even among all these people, I like the Gyanis the highest.
Jnanis
Survidam
very much.
bhajantem.
Correct, correct. 7:15. So where were we? Yeah.
We're
So
discussing about the senses.
yeah. So coming back to Virat Rupa meditators, they are definitely not outright sense enjoyers. Okay, this is one thing to be very clear. They have some desires to enjoy certain aspect of the material creation, like what it is mentioned here. Say, for example, they want to get transferred to the topmost planet of material creation, like Brahmaloka. They want to achieve eightfold mystic perfections of Ashtanga Yoga. They want to travel in the outer space, like Vaiha Yashas or Vidyadharas, these higher planetary residents. Or they want to get into a planet which is like very, very rare and precious. So these are definitely some of the aspirations, very much to do with the material world. But why we don't call them outright sense enjoyers? Because they have not lost their ultimate goal. They are still focused on their ultimate goal of achieving liberation. Just that while achieving that ultimate goal, they are taking a detour. That means they are taking, as it will be clear in the slides, they are what is called as Krama Mukti. Krama Mukti means step by step liberation these Virat Rupa meditators achieve. And the example is given just like, for example, somebody wants to travel by train from Mumbai to Delhi. So that person is very fixed in that desire that he wants to travel to Delhi by train. But while doing that travel, he also desires to enjoy, say, some of the delicacies being served from the pantry car, and he is curious to know what is being made. And scriptures explain that to the level all these desires do exist, that much longer such a Virat Rupa meditator will take to reach the ultimate goal of liberation. That's why his liberation is called as Krama Mukti. Krama Mukti means it is step by step liberation. How it is step by step? So first, such a Virat Rupa meditator gives up his gross body, followed by the gross desires, followed by the gross body, then the subtle desires, followed by the subtle body, and then gradually the liberation is attained. But that is not the case with the Paramatma meditator. Okay, so coming, there is one more
So,
verse. Yeah,
Prabhuji,
yeah.
I have a question. So, are these desires discouraged, or is it allowed? I mean, is it looked down upon that one has these desires?
Definitely not. Okay, so specifically we are discussing for the Ashtanga Yoga path. So these are transcendentalist categories, not ordinary personalities. However, As far as devotees are concerned, Shukadev Goswami will cover in the 3rd chapter how the desires should be managed for a devotees. That famous verse, akamo sarva kamo va moksha kamo udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. So for a devotee, he mentions that even if we have material desires, better to go to Krishna to satisfy them like Dhruva Maharaj, and not any other endeavor like this Virat Rupa meditators do. Because if we take any other detours, it will take very long to reach the destination. So is that all right, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Yeah. So in conclusion, the material desires are not looked down upon. Otherwise, Bhagavatam would have been only for select few, for the pure devotees. Shukadev Goswami caters to the from the bottommost strata to the topmost Paramahamsas. So all classes of people he and Srila Vyasadeva do cater to. So this particular verse I have quoted from 8th chapter, the translation says, those who know the Supreme Brahman attain the Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of fiery God. In the light at an auspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels to the north. So even the Virat Rupa meditator also needs to fulfill all those constraints in order to ultimately achieve their desired goal. But they take longer compared to the Paramatma meditator. So hopefully in the next sitting, we will conclude this chapter where how the Virat Rupa meditators perform their process and reach their goal. We will go into the detail. Prabhuji's Mataji's.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji,
The next sitting.
attendance link.
Yes, Prabhuji. So let me see.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Murli
The
Prabhu.
next session will be not coming Sunday, but the following Sunday.
Yes. So that is my suggestion. All of you let me know if you agree with that.
Yes.
You have any other thoughts?
It's fine, Prabhuji.
But my only request is don't skip the temple programs. Otherwise, one